Yes, a live episode 71 of the BIC podcast. Not really announced. It's more of a thing that happened on the channel. So if anybody does pop into the chat and you hear it on the audio version, that's what I'm acknowledging. But I'm not expecting anything. We'll see if anything of that comes up, and I will acknowledge chat here and there. But for the most part, it's just so that we could get through. Number one, I wanted to make sure we had a live during Expo Week, like Shark Week, but lamer. And secondly, it's definitely not because this is much easier and I don't really have to edit it. It's not just because of my laziness, but it's definitely because of my laziness. And maybe Eric will have some scandalous words to speak of the faux goat, Tom Brady. That and more on this episode of the BIC podcast. The good news is that I'm not going to apologize for this one because whatever happens, I had nothing to do with it. Well, I'll participate in a pile-on probably, but in general terms, I have nothing to do with it because it was only brought to my attention not that long ago.
As a tease, because we're going to get through the other stuff that we planned on talking about. I am more fired up than I've been in a while. Friends of mine have been. Have had something happen to them due to Tom Brady's behaviors. I'm absolutely disgusted and angry, and I am ready to just tear loose. So let's get to the stuff that we need to talk about, and then I am going to just unload.
Scandalous, truly scandalous. And at the same time, we got the playoff hockey's going on. So it's one of those things where I've got that going on the screen. I think Brandon and I are going to be paying attention to the Stars game. And I've also got the Boston and Toronto game. By the way, since it is Canada, my favorite thing about this time of year, because as long as the Leafs are still in it, usually one round, because of that, CBC, the national broadcaster and everything, you don't have to have cable or internet or anything. By the way, you can get it over the air with the rabbit ears if you really want to, or you can just stream it. You can literally go in. There's no login required or anything. You can literally just play it. Like it's literally playing on my other screen. And I've got the cable package and everything. It's not necessary. It's not required. You can 100% do it. So before we get started here, we'll quickly shout out AMG Collectibles and AMG Collectibles YouTube channel. So amgcollectibles.ca and the AMG Collectibles YouTube channel. They will be at the Spring Expo. And we will have a regular episode coming up tomorrow. So this one is a live one. The audio version of this will go up probably tonight. So you'll get it right around the same time you usually get a drop. You are getting a live version of it, so it'll already be on the channel. So enjoy that. But then at the same time, there will be a regular podcast episode where we'll be talking about the last minute preparations for the Spring Expo. So I don't know what's coming in the shop. I did get a couple of items that were sent in, a couple of text messages. So we've got that going on. So regular podcast episode this week. And then we'll do the post-Expo show next week. So we'll have that on the AMG Collectibles YouTube channel. Thank you to AMG Collectibles for supporting the podcast and the live stream in this case. All right. So real quick, I'll touch on a couple of quick things about the Spring Expo, a couple of last minute things. One of the things that I will give folks a head up on the Canadian side of things, if that is something that you're interested in. I haven't decided if I'm going to do, I want to do a video talking about my prep for it, but I'll quickly touch on a couple of things. One of the obvious things that I mentioned already was that I was going to put together a box for Cllct. So already in progress here. I'm working on it. I've got about 200 cards already. But one thing that was pointed out by Barry, Cllct Barry, in the chat on Friday, and correctly so, there's actually a code that can get you 30% off. We're not sponsored by Cllct. I do know some folks that are, but I'm not. But given that I am submitting cards, I want to save 30%. So there is a code if you go to Cllct, and you can actually save 30% on the submission. So it goes from 50 cents to 35 cents for the regular cards, which for me is exactly what I'm going to submit. I'm going to submit at the slowest rate, at the cheapest price. I'll take the 30%. For me, that's $15 per card. And on 200 cards, that's $30. I will take my $30 discount. Thank you very much. So apparently all you have to do is put in a code. It is valid for the Spring Expo. So if you're in Canada and you're going to do that, hey, may as well take your 30%. May take advantage of it while you can, and it'll save you a little bit of money and makes it a little bit cheaper to submit the cards to Cllct. Just a heads up on that. All right, one or two other things then, and then we'll have a little bit of fun with Mr. Brady. I think otherwise Spring Expo stuff. Obviously, we got 1,018,000 autographs. We'll talk about some autograph stuff here in a second. But then at the same time, also I do recommend comfortable shoes. The boring advice that everybody gives. We gotta have comfortable shoes, and then do take advantage of the fact that you are going to be surrounded by a lot of other collectors, and take advantage of the evenings where you get to hang out quite a bit. It's like, Eric, you're coming to dinner, right? You're coming to dinner Saturday. Bobby's got it all booked up and everything. We're ready to go. You ready?
I'm in no mood today. I'm in no mood for you. I'm in no mood for this nonsense. I've been harassed all day on the texts.
Yep.
All right.
Mhm.
And I'm not putting up with it anymore. I'm all fired up over this Tom Brady garbage. All right. The man's human trash. All
Mm,
right. He's a burning pile of garbage.
mm.
So I'm in no mood.
And that's the perfect kind of mood, Brandon. That's what we want. So if there are any
Hey,
questions or any thoughts or comments on the Spring Expo, Brandon was already not a man of peace last week. Today, Brandon, I
I'm
think is a lot
chill
more
this
chill.
week. Like
Yeah, we're saying we're chill,
yeah,
tranquilo. We're
I
all
know we're
calm.
not. I know we're
good.
supposed to be more mature, but this is live instead of. I feel like if we're live, maturity's out the window, and if we're recording, I feel like okay, especially if we do something stupid, we can edit it. So we're live. I say screw it, and I'm just gonna make sure I show this. All right.
Mm, there you go. Mm, mm.
This sign will live forever. It has a special spot in my desk drawer.
Have you considered laminating it to preserve
I'm,
it?
No,
things have been considered.
don't laminate it. Whenever
No,
I get the opportunity to grace you with my presence, Eric, I will sign it.
Mm,
We will
okay.
have a witness there, so you know I signed it.
Yep.
And then you can do as you wish, laminate it, get it encapsulated,
Yep.
whatever you please.
Yeah.
But we
I'm
got
gonna
to
get
make
it
it
graded.
official. We got to make it official. And then you can talk shit about my autograph if you choose to, but at least you will have it.
Okay.
mm. So we do have in the live chat, Michael Ham here. What's up, guys? Thank you, Ham. It's going all right.
I mean,
Some of us are a little bit more excited than others.
I'm in no mood for ham right now.
Alas, no mood for Ham. Oh well. But thank you, Ham, for
No,
popping in.
no mood
I
for
really
Lily,
ham.
think
do it.
Eric is salty today because the Leafs are losing. I think that's what I think he truly is a Leafs fan. He wasn't kidding last year.
Yeah.
So real
And
quick,
they're
actually,
losing.
before we get into the Brady slander, which I will enjoy thoroughly, spoiler, I will enjoy thoroughly.
You
But
mean
before we
human
get to that, yeah, before we get to that, though, Eric, can I ask a legitimate question?
fine.
So we've got the Leafs and Bruins. All right, so we
Yep.
got the Leafs and Bruins, and
Watching it.
obviously the Boston has beaten Toronto in every playoff series since 1959.
It's the
Toronto
Donna.
has not beaten. Toronto has not beaten the Boston Bruins in a playoff series since 1959. Carlos
Yeah.
Sr. and my mom were both 5 years old.
That's correct.
Bobbles was in his early hundreds. So like
Mm.
this was a while ago. But so here's a question though. In this instance, Boston should be in principle tremendously favored for no other reason than Toronto's ineptitude is legendary at this point. It's a long time legend. So are you more concerned about that from the law of averages perspective, or does that fill you with more confidence? Basically, what I want to know is what's your confidence meter on a scale of 1 to 10? What's your confidence meter?
High because Toronto is cursed. Obviously, it's like the Red Sox used to be. So I picked Boston on Friday. I'm sticking with that pick. I don't think Toronto has a prayer. There's all these rumors, of course, going around about Willie Nyland. Now I'm hearing it's like a disciplinary thing because he just the last 5 games of the season is the very last game of the season for Toronto. He just dragged ass like he didn't want to be there, and their coach is Sheldon Keefe is sending a message somehow to one of his best players by not playing him. There's all these different things that are going on. So there's no hope. There's absolutely no hope for Toronto in this.
See, Brandon, this is what I was hoping for. I was hoping that Eric would stick himself out on a ledge here a little bit because I expect Boston to win for no other reason than the points that were already made. But and then Lapper and I disagree on this point. Lapper hates the Leafs so much that he wants to see them get destroyed. But I'm pointing out that basically at this point, the Leafs are the Washington Generals. That's not impressive that the Harlem Globetrotters beat them. That's what we expect in this instance. So, like, it would actually be more shocking to go the other way. And Eric's, tirade and complaining after that would entertain us. So, from the perspective of us, like, here's the thing: I've got no love for the Maple Leafs. I enjoy their annual elimination ceremony. I do appreciate it and enjoy it. But I can live with it one round later if it means that we get a Hindenburg-like ending 2 years in a row.
I just
I
want
have
to
no
point
hope.
out.
The
I just want
Bruins
to point
will
out
win.
though and remind everybody, the Leafs did make it further than the Bruins last year.
I understand, but in this case, they're playing each other. So in theory, one of them has to advance. Well, all I'm getting at here is that it would be very funny to me if we had a Hindenburg-like ending for a second straight year. Because at this point, Eric, you'd be justified as like, at this point, like, it's time to burn Booby Orr in effigy, something like that. But no bueno, like 1959. So the theory here is you maintain the curse, you maintain the ownage. And by the way, that includes 2 4-game sweeps, and it includes, I think, 3 straight game 7s. I could be mistaken. I think it's 3 straight game 7s, including multiple game 7s when Toronto was leading in game 7. And they had to come back in multiple of those game 7s. So they've had disasters upon disasters upon. So the Boston Red Sox comp is actually very strong.
Oh, very much.
If you want to say cursed, that feels very curse-ish, very curse-esque.
I don't know how many years it's been, but the Red Sox won 86 years. Hopefully Toronto won't have to wait that long, but it's going to be at least one more year.
All right, so we'll see. Paul here. Good evening, Paul. Feel free, like I said, folks in the chat, feel free to chime in with some comments here and there. I am reading the chat, so I want to make sure. But at the same time, like I said, I was being kind of serious. It does save me from having to edit this episode. So for the most part, we'll just let it play as it plays, and we'll go into it. Okay, so like I said, anything else Expo-wise, if you guys want to chime in on it in the chat, let me know, and we can talk about it. You know a lot of the stuff at this point. I may make a standalone video about it, talking about some of my personal plans. I did mention the Cllct thing, though, just for those of you who are coming by. If you are going to drop anything off at Cllct, I do recommend checking it out. Check out the Cllct. They've got the little code there. Use it and then take advantage of the 30% and save yourself some money. So that's just my suggestion to you. Carla here. This is not Friday. I'm confused. Aren't we all, man? Are we all? It's been a rough Monday. It tells you this Monday's so rough. We're hoping for Friday. Monday's so rough. We're hoping Friday. By the way, those of you who check this out, check out Carlisle's latest video. He used science. He got to the bottom of the Kurt's card care thing with the science. Check
that sounds a lot like maths.
You got it. You listen. You're going to appreciate Eric. You will appreciate the science. Carlisle used some very scientific method. I approved of the science that I saw there.
He better not have used any maths.
Just saying, take advantage of it. Watch the science. Watch the math strip work. There's some good science there. I'm supporting it. I don't care what Bobby says about Atlanta. I support your science, Carlisle. Listen, I don't care what Bobby says about Atlanta. I'm not holding it against Carlisle. I think his science is sound. I appreciate it. Thank you for joining in. Okay. All right, Eric. Look, I've got the article. Tom Brady doing scandalousness in this mess. So do you want me to outline it first and then you rant? Or
yeah, why don't you outline it? I'll talk about my connection to it, and then we'll show some pictures.
Okay. So I am going to include an article in the description from Cllct, from Darren Ravel. So there you go. We've invoked it. We've used it here. We're actually going to use an article from them.
So I actually have another one.
Sure.
They're very, very similar. And so the one that I sent you is absolutely fine, but there actually is another one from thespun.com.
Thespun.com. There you go. All right.
Yeah.
So let me do the outline here.
Take caution going to that website.
I was going to say, be very careful.
Right.
Don't click on the pop-ups. Don't click on the pop-ups. All right. Let me do the synopsis here. So I will include a link in the description.
It's real right there. Scumbag.
I got it. I like that they use a scummy picture too. Okay. So let me do the outline here. Let me give the outline first. Okay. So what's going to happen is basically Tom Brady was doing a speaking engagement at a business and motivational conference in Miami on Saturday night, and they had a VIP segment of it. So you had a speech, you had basically that whole segment of it. So the high rollers paid $3,600 per ticket for a speech. So I'm reading off of this, but I will include a link in the description if you want to read it yourself. There's $3,600 for the ticket to the speech, a photo op, and a signed item. So these are the items. This is what you got for your $3,600. And a lineup for a chance to take a picture with Brady. And basically, apparently, the issue was there's a disconnect here. So you got two camps, just so we cover everything properly. You got two camps. You got the collectors who were told one thing, and that was that you could bring your items and get different items signed as part of this. Because I said, you got three things. You got the speech, you got a photo op, and a signed item. Fair enough. But at this point, what supposedly they were under the impression that you could bring your item and get Tom Brady to sign your item. Now, the Brady camp is the one saying, no, the signed item was either his TB12 method book or I believe some pictures. There were very specific items that were vetted that were okay. that you could basically go and get those signed, and they were included as part of it. And anything beyond that was not in the agreement or the description that was given. But what happened is, instead of just saying, no, I'm not going to sign this, basically what apparently happened is that Tom Brady did sign them, but he signed them in a very questionable manner. So what I'll do, Eric, is I will find a couple of the pictures from this article here, and I will include that in the here while we're talking, and then you may speak your opening piece. I'll zoom in on this picture here so we can look at it while you're describing. So that's the high level. The high level was there was $3,600 involved. There was a conference. Basically, it was supposed to be a photo op. It was supposed to be the speech. And it was supposed to be an autograph. Collectors brought items, including some very valuable items that they were hoping to get signed by Tom Brady. And in some cases, it appears he did, but not exactly the kind of autograph that they were hoping for, given what the price tag was. This apparently is a Tom Brady autograph, allegedly. And that's the problem.
So Tom
Looks
Brady,
like my James Wood.
Tom Brady may be the greatest quarterback ever, or in the conversation, and he may be a football hero, but as a human being, the man is human trash. He threw a temper tantrum on Saturday down in Florida and destroyed hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of sports memorabilia because he wanted to be a big baby. Okay, from now on, I will be calling him Tom Baby. All right. The fact that this man, who has more wealth than any of us could possibly imagine, just his contract with whatever network is hiring him to do games next year is like the largest one in history. Just that contract alone makes him ungodly wealthy. Throws a temper tantrum and destroys other people's property on purpose that's worth hundreds of thousands of dollars. Now, I've had my issues with Tom Brady from years back, and I'm not going to get into that now. Maybe on Friday I'll elaborate. But I have a friend who happens to have the same first name as me. It's not me, I assure you. I don't run in these groups. I don't have this kind of cachet, and I don't have this type of sports memorabilia.
I was going to say, if you did, then that like button fee is going way up.
Yeah. We're talking Tom Brady game used cleats. We're talking the first football the football that was thrown to Gronk in his first Super Bowl touchdown. Tickets, Super Bowl tickets, chair backs from stadiums, you name it. We're high end Tom Brady memorabilia worth hundreds of thousands of dollars. My buddy and a couple of other partners that he has spent, it's $3,600 for a ticket. Plus, they paid more to get more items signed. And because Tom is a spoiled little baby and decided he didn't want to do this, instead of saying, hey, guys, this isn't what I'm here for, I don't want to do this, I'm sorry, he took out his pen and just vandalized not only my buddy's memorabilia, but countless other people's. There are people right now who including my acquaintance, my friend, that are talking to lawyers who are calling and just going after the promoters who are denying responsibility in all this. And now you have Darren Rovell, who's done a story on it. I just said that this site, what did I call it? The Spun or something? The Spun. They have an article up on it. This is horrible. my friend believes, and I showed this to the guys beforehand, that the items before Tom Brady vandalized them were worth 12 items, all high end, were worth $750,000 to $800,000 without autographs on them. They put them in front of him. He threw a temper tantrum like a baby and destroyed them. We had Beckett authentication in the shop today. It was scheduled for a long time. This is all just coincidence that it all kind of fell into place. My buddy brought the 12 items that he had signed this past Saturday in, and Beckett will not authenticate them. Now, they trust my friend. They know each other. They know the story. They know for a fact Brady signed these and destroyed them the way he did. But because they weren't there and these don't match up to any Tom Brady autographs in their archives, they said, we're not authenticating these. This is horrible. This is absolutely horrible. And Tom Brady can go, suck a bag of them.
Not to interrupt your rant, because you're giving some good details, sharing some good information. I do want to apologize to going live when I said, and you said they know the story and all that stuff. I was thinking about it when you were explaining all that. It's actually good on Beckett to not authenticate them, because I think then it could call into question if people just start scribbling on things and say, oh, Tom signed this for me. And then there's just too much variance there. Those, even what y'all were showing there, when the couple pictures Carlos showed, they weren't even close together. So what I said before we started going live, I want to pull that back, because thinking it back a little bit more, it makes more sense why they wouldn't. So I just wanted to let you know that. But did Tom sign your hat? Because that almost looks like his signature on your hat.
No. Well, that's kind of the problem. It's almost like a Rorschach test. Like you stare at it and like, what do you see? It's like, does that look like an autograph? So
I was joking, because that first one you showed actually looked like the James Wood autos I was getting in, and I was like,
the problem is it looks like anything. It literally looks like anything. It's so sloppy that so I agree with the idea that I don't blame Beckett for not authenticating that, because it's so vague. It might as well have been a blob. He might as well have written an X. Yep. Like it's so generic that it's like it's unacceptable to use it, because you have to assume that any real signing he wouldn't sign it like that, and there's your problem. Like it's a specific situation. So Brandon here makes a comment here. Wasn't a business conference is not a signing event. So here's where the two camps kind of disagree and argue two different sides of it. So the $3,600 included that's ticket to the speech, the photo op, and a signed item. The contention is what qualifies as a signed item. Brady's camp is saying, yeah, a signed item, but we have a very specific list of things that we agreed to sign. Brady, in this case, I think one of them was his book, and then I think another one of them was I want to say some photos or something. I'll see if I can find it in this article. But the point is, there are specific things they claim that he would have signed with no issue. But then the collectors, of course, brought their own stuff. So that's where you've got to disconnect. The collectors want their stuff signed. But then in this case, it appears that Brady didn't want to sign their stuff. And he said, I'll sign the book, I'll sign the pictures, whatever. And that's all he wanted to do. So it's not a signing event per se, but there was an autograph component to this that was included as part of the package that these people paid for. So that's where you got an issue.
Real quick. Brendan, watch how easy this is. No. That's it. That's all he had to say.
Does anybody know if
viciously destroying people's stuff because you want to throw a temper tantrum, right? And somehow screw over collectors. When they've already paid $3,600 to come see you, plus extra money to the promoters to get these things signed, It is. They were allowed to bring them in and put them in front of him. They didn't like run through a bunch of security and into a back room and throw it in front of him and put a gun against his head and said, sign these or else. All he had to say is, no, that's not what I'm doing today.
Well, here's the question I have. If this event was all set up and his camp is stating that it was the book or photos or whatever.
Yeah, I got it right here. So it says sources told Cllct. So again, I'll include an article in the description there. Sources told Cllct the only things that were pre-approved were photos and copies of Brady's book. So those are the two sets of items that were pre-approved.
Why didn't his camp have the items already signed? And then, as you get your little picture snapped, would you like a book or a photo, and hand them to the individual? And then there's no question Brady's not, because it sounded like he didn't want to sign. My guess is because he knows signing stuff getting out there and people selling it devalues his other contracts with Fanatics and everything else, or maybe there's probably something there to his deal with Fanatics, but neither here nor there.
No, hold on.
If there were specific items, they should have been signed and prepared for speech, photo. Which item would you like? Move on.
So real quick, before Eric chimes in, hold on, Eric, before you chime in. So one important thing, part of the point that they made in the article is that right now the bone of contention is the company that was promoting this and what they told people versus what was, the agreement.
Right.
So basically what they've got is a disconnect because the answer is in the contract. The final answer is the contract. Whatever
Right.
Brady signed in the contract is what he agreed to. Anything beyond that, he has the right to say no. But at the same time, the question is what was communicated to people versus what was in the contract. Now, at the same time, if you encounter an issue between a disconnect between the contract and what the situation is on the ground, then somebody has to be the one to say, hey, hold on, this doesn't match up. We need to make a decision here. And I think that what it appears is they decided to cut the baby in half and nobody's happy. Like he signed it, but signed is, in quotation marks.
That's vandalized. And from what Brandon was saying, there's a conspiracy. I'm not saying this is
conspiracy.
Factual. It's a conspiracy theory at most. Okay, is that unless he is signing with Fanatics, he is ruining his signature on purpose to devalue it. Therefore, if you want a good one, you have to pay twice the price to Fanatics. So if you get them at the restaurant, if you get them at this meet and greet, if you get them at at a charity event, it's gonna be crap. And if you want the good one, you're gonna have to pay double whatever you paid today to get the good one from Fanatics. Now, I can't say that's a fact, but that is the discussion that is going around.
My point with having the items pre-signed, if that was what his camp is stating that the deal was for, that would have made it to where there would have been no dispute, no debate. Hey, we got these items here. These are ready. This is what this was supposed to be. And just at least have gave the person a nice item that was signed properly and just said, we're sorry for the miscommunication, but here's your Tom Brady autograph. And at least that would have solved multiple things. The people who had the expensive merchandise wouldn't have gotten it ruined, and they would have had a Tom Brady autographed item. But since it seems that wasn't the case, I kind of question whether that's what was intended to begin with, especially since all the ticket buyers were told one thing and they obviously didn't have that prepared. So I don't know.
Well, I will support where Carlos says 100%, and I'll support Tom Brady to a point 100%, because if the contract says X, Y, and Z, and he has fulfilled X, Y, and Z, and then you throw A, B, and C on top of him, he should have just said no, not be a baby and destroy people's property just for the fun of it. And that's what makes him an asshole. Not saying no, that's fine. the agreement is I'm going to be here. I'm going to give a speech. I'm going to sign a book or an 8x10. Then I'm out of here. Taking my private helicopter over to my private plane, and I'm flying to my private island. Fine. I respect that. That's what you agreed to. If someone tried to screw Tom Brady over by saying, hey, while you're here, we're going to do all this so we can make a couple of extra bucks in our pocket, all he had to say was no. Instead, he destroyed people's property, and he did it on purpose. And that makes him an asshole. Now, I've already thought he's an asshole. Again, I'll get into it another time. But we have found dirt on this guy for years. He's not the greatest man alive.
You're saying he's not a swell fellow?
Played footballs.
He's not a swell fellow. I don't even care about the footballs. I'm talking about off the field. Okay? He's not a swell fella.
All right. So let me read a couple more points from the article real quick. Let me read a couple more points of the article. Brandon, I'm kind of enjoying the Tom Brady slander. I'll come
now you can also, I give you permission.
Hey, Eric, your Bruins are tied now, too.
To show my friends stuff, all of my friends' stuff.
Yeah, the pictures. Yeah, I'll see if I can pull them up here in a second. So I'll read one of the pieces from the article here. So Derek Wagner from Boston. So a lot of the pictures are coming from the same source. So that's one of the ones here. Derek Wagner from Boston bought 6 tickets to the event and submitted 6 of his own items at the cost of $21,600. So 6 items and $21,600. So some of the examples, the pictures I showed you, actually came from that same individual. So that's kind of the one where, like, you can imagine, especially if you're using game used material, game used football and things that are, not as replaceable. If you go buy a football at, a store and just have them sign that, that's one thing. It's not great, but but at the same time, it's just a regular plain old football. But if you go get a gamer of some kind, then, it starts creating a bit of a bigger problem. And that's where you run into a bit of an issue. And I can definitely see where I think you spent 21 grand. They should have just told you no.
Yes.
The answer in that scenario is that isn't what he agreed to. He should have been like, I'm not signing this. And then at the bare minimum, the guy could have been like, okay, refund me my money. And then you've at least got a recourse. It's straightforward. Everybody understands their situation, and the guy can take back his stuff.
Yeah.
But that would have been probably the way to do it. That's the way I would have approached it. I also appreciate that he included the ShamWow guy in the picture. So thank you for that.
Yeah, that's always good.
I think that's excellent. Good job by you. Because nobody would pay that much for a book or a photo. If the $3,600 for a book or a photo, I agree. That's very aggressive pricing wise. Resolve autograph concerns, yes. I think what it came down to, like, my opinion, just based on what I saw here, it sounds to me like whoever this, and by the way, this isn't the first time I would have heard of something like this. It sounds to me like the autograph promoter didn't do their diligence. Like, the autograph promoter's job in that scenario is to make sure everybody understands what the deal is, what the situation is. If something goes wrong or something changes, and Brandon can speak to this, card shows, what happens? You got autograph signers all the time. Well, autograph signers cancel. They get sick. Mm-hmm. They're in the middle of the thing, but maybe they start falling ill. Well, then what do? You say, hey, guys, you know what? They're unfortunately they're ill. Like, we'll refund you or whatever. You make good on the people, but you make sure everybody understands what the situation is. You make sure everybody knows, hey, you want this. This is what it is. You want that. This is what it is. This is the type of ticket. Sometimes it gets really complicated. So it's like, you need to understand that and tell everybody in advance. The sooner you tell everybody, then you don't have a problem with expectations. Because as soon as you don't have that problem with expectations, then you're okay. That's fine. But when you just leave it open-ended, then it screws everybody over.
They also have all the guys will have, or ladies as well, they'll have handlers that squash the situation. Like, if the athlete, if Brady was not to sign other items, it would have, like, even if Brady didn't say no, the handler should have said, no, do you want a book? Do you want an 8x10?
Right.
And
but
leave it at that,
found a way to get more money in their pocket. That's what this is really all about, I think, is the promoters going, hey, we'll sneak a few things in and we'll get people to give us even more money. And, one person buying 6 tickets, all this. No one's going to buy 6 tickets for that idiot's book. Nobody wants that stupid book. Book sucks. And
Now I think here's a question. So let me ask you, pose this question here. Well, this is a statement, but let me kind of pose a question based off of it. It goes, there should have been a representative from BGS with a JSA PSA to witness the authentication. So I don't disagree with this concept in terms of it, but I think even if they did,
yeah,
and let's say for the sake of argument, they authenticated because they clearly saw the guy do it. And they
yep,
said, yes, it is a legitimate autograph from this specific situation, the specific signing. The autograph still looks like shit. There is something to be said
Right.
for the aesthetics of the autograph on the item. It's not
Becky
like it makes it more
PSA
appealing.
isn't going to lean over to Tom Brady and say, hey, do a better job. They're just putting stickers on shit because that's what they're getting paid to do. Yep, I saw him take that pen and put it on that football. Here's a sticker. Do you really, again, please put the pictures back up and make sure people see this that might just be joining in. Do you want this on your, $100,000 football?
Yeah, just give me a
The
minute
key
here. I'm
here
actually
is-
clipping the picture so that I can leave names out of it. So give me a minute here. I'm working
The
on it.
key with that, okay, so if there was a representative there, let's say Beckett is refusing to authenticate it because they weren't there and they say
Right.
it doesn't match. But if they
Right.
are literally standing there and watching Tom Brady chicken scratch the ball and slap a sticker on it and say, we witnessed it, and heck, we laugh at Beckett. So let's say it's JSA or PSA doing it. If they do that, that legitimizes Brady's signature looking like shit like that. But
Yeah.
what that also does is it begins to devalue his autograph because then you are getting such a wide variety of autographs
Yep.
out there that whether they're witness, I mean, he might sign like that everywhere from now on. We don't know, but
Not
that
if it
starts
Alex
to
is not.
devalue. Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, it starts to devalue that autograph. If people know that if you go to a non-fanatic situation that Brady is going to be signing at, they're not going to go to it because they're not going to want that chicken scratch. So maybe that would have been a good thing to say, hey, but I get the other side to it though. Like I said earlier, if you start authenticating that, I mean, a 2-year-old could do that with a crayon.
The upper left is from what I understand the most expensive ball. Okay, you can on my best day I can somehow say that the other balls I might be able to make out a B or a T. Okay,
It looks like he just did a quick
Yeah.
B.
The upper left ball is the most expensive one. I had that in my hand today.
Now I'm going for comparison's sake, Eric. For comparison's sake, I'm going to pull up what is a more traditional Brady autograph.
The
just for
swoop at the
comparison.
top looks like the T top.
Yes.
Yeah, right there.
What we saw a second ago versus that.
Right. And let's just talk about this. Tom Brady's signature is not great. Now, I've seen some early, like rookie year ones. They're fantastic. This is his typical go to Fanatics, pay $3,000. That's his signature. You can see the T. You can make out a B. Now, also, a lot of times he'll throw a 12 in there or something if he's in a good mood. That is a Tom Brady autograph. And it's not even a great one. I've seen way better. Now, quickly go back to the shit that my friend got on his stuff.
Yeah, 1 second. There you go.
Tom Brady is a piece of dog shit.
I really wish, Brandon, that Eric would really just like stop holding back and share his feelings.
So there's like a line and the 2 dots missing from what the other one, and it's not as small, and you could tell it was kind of rushed. But I do agree if there was a sticker and authentication on this. The crazy thing is these might become more valuable because they're unique signatures of Brady, and they have this whole.
I'm sorry.
So you're talking about the infamy. You're going into the You're going into the PSA 8 Honus Wagner. This is an infamous scenario.
I can't go with you on that one. I'm gonna leave you behind.
No. I'm not talking about the quality of it. We know as collectors that people will buy the off-the-wall thing, and this also has a crazy story attached to it.
I don't think so. I just don't
Wacky
see it.
providence.
I can't wrap my head around that one.
By the way, folks, for the audio version of it, See, thumbs up
The system likes
for the
it.
audio version of it. You really would be better served checking out the visual one. This one, because we're relying very heavily on the visuals for this episode. Just letting you know, just be aware of that. We're
And-
describing a really crappy autograph. Like I said, I'll include a link in the description if you want to check out some of the pictures. And then Bendejo here says those items are ruined without at least an authentication. With a sticker, it's not a total loss. It still wouldn't be great. Let's be clear about it. It would not be great. But if it's witness, you would know exactly when and where it was signed, at least. So I do agree with that. It would give you something to link it to the specific situation.
Now, ask yourselves, and this is an opinion question, so you're not wrong either way. I just have a very strong opinion on one side of this or the other. You have a ball that's worth $100,000+. That was a Super Bowl touchdown ball. The first ball Gronk ever caught for a Super Bowl touchdown thrown by his best buddy, Tom Brady. It's worth $100,000+. I've heard a way bigger number than that, but we're going to say $100,000. Would you rather have that sitting on your mantle with no autograph on it, or sitting on the mantle with that bullshit scribble on it? Even if it has a Beckett sticker, PSA sticker, and a JSA sticker, all three on it. Would you rather have that ball just plain and clean sitting on your mantle, or with that bullshit scribble? I don't want that on the ball. You have just ruined the value of it. I don't care how many stickers are on it. I don't care if you got video and pictures of Tom doing it. It looks horrible. It takes away from the entire thing, and it's ruined.
I actually, look, part of it is me, part of it is my trolling nature, but also at the same time, I would kind of appreciate on a certain level if there was video of Tom Brady like cursing as he's doing. He goes, "Screw these fuckers."
Oh,
I kind of would appreciate that. I kind of would enjoy that.
I need it, Carlos. I need it more than you.
It would be great.
I spent 3 hours with my friend today at the shop. Okay, the man is devastated. He doesn't. Him and his two friends. That this was, something they've been working on. They're walking around like zombies. Like they have just lost so much. They've invested and then lost so much money because of this asshole.
And to be fair, they did.
We
won't even do. Yeah, they did spend a ton. They spend a bundle. So that was like I said, Derek Wagner, that was quoted in the article, and the pictures are included. By the way, you may have noticed Eric's pictures look awfully similar to the ones in the Cllct article, so you can put two and two together on your own. So anyway, in the article itself, $26,600 for 6 tickets to basically get that kind of a quality autograph. I can't blame them for being very upset with what they got out of that, because it's not a great experience. It doesn't make you feel good in any way about it, and I don't really necessarily think it enhances the actual item at all. So it's a very unfortunate, but it's because of the situation. So I want to read a couple of comments though, just so we can get here. T206 Kid, I want to thank you for the comment as well. Just to throw this out there, is it possible to remove those hobo signatures? So we did joke about, I bet this is like a liquid somewhere out there, and if you pull it out, maybe it becomes a Joe Montana autograph. Maybe a bit improvement. We kid mostly.
All right, so listen, that was the first question I asked, right? Because I'm going to be Mr. Helpful. Like, these guys haven't thought about this already, right? But you see these guys destroyed today, and I'm like, what's the first thing that comes to my mind? Well, I've cleaned signatures off pucks so we can reuse the pucks because the signatures suck, or the guy, we don't even know who the hell the autograph's from, right? I'm like, can you clean that off? And they explained to me that, for example, with a game-used football, all right, there's certain markings on it where it got roughed up, where there's paint from the sideline, was this or that. And, it has, this dark brown tone to it. Well, if you start putting a cleaner on it and trying to scrub that autograph,
it would mess with the look of the ball.
It's never going to look right. And, the grass stain or the turf paint or whatever that's on the ball now, which you can hold up and say, look, we can photo match this to the Super Bowl, whatever it is. Now it's like, oh no, that's off now. And we also have this weird, clean mark on the side of this dirty football that wasn't there before. And that's because you put chemicals on it and took the damn signature off. And now you've destroyed the ball.
So this was a joke that we were alluding to. T206 kid, you got it. We were as soon as we were thinking about that, it's like I bet there's a market there for you. So Brendan was asking here, Hank Aaron had a shaky autograph later knife. Does it make it less desirable? I don't think it does, because we're talking about, so it depends on the person, because there may be a collector who is interested in autographs through the different parts of his life and career, but there's a difference. The difference is the difference is that Hank Aaron at that point in his life, that's the best he could do. That's how it was. It wasn't that he intentionally made it bad. It's that he was old and the autograph was shaky. In this case, it was more like vindictiveness. So Tom Brady does not have that excuse.
And I'm fired. And I just want to say, listen, if it sounds to anyone in the chat, if it sounds like I'm coming at you, I apologize now. That is not my intent. I'm fired up. I got a buddy who's been hurt by this asshole. I care about this hobby. I have tons of autographs in front of me right now. I mean, there's autographs all over this room. I take it seriously. I hate that these new athletes, scribble and destroy our stuff. Cards that we buy and packs we open, and you pull a card and it's just like a line. That Conor McGregor video, it just absolutely enrages me. I love the fact that he got his leg broken and ended his career. I hope he becomes totally
well, he's coming back. McGregor's got another fight coming up.
It's just it really infuriates me. And now I have a buddy who's out hundreds of thousands of dollars. Now that number's big, so you may think he's rich. I assure you, he is not rich. He is a businessman. He invests his own money, gets hold of items, and makes more money. But he's not making hundreds of thousands of dollars. Okay?
So
I knew I had the evil Tom Brady picture. It makes me happy that I still had it.
You buy $100,000 football on with your credit card. You get it signed. You sell it for $120,000. You make $20,000 or whatever I'm trying to say. Okay, it isn't like he's making millions and millions of dollars. He's got multiple kids, a small house. The guy works harder than anyone I see. The guy is up at dawn and is just busting his ass all day long and trying to in this hobby. And it's admirable.
So question: the items that were presented, and it doesn't make it right or wrong either way. I'm just asking the question for clarity. He paid the money to go to this signing, to
what he believed
the
was
items that he had
I'm making sure that I'm clarifying based on the description, though. I want to make sure I'm clarifying here, because again, it's covered here. We've got a discrepancy between two groups that are perceiving this differently. The folks that came in and paid this money believed it to be a signing. That is the impression they received, and clearly this marketing company didn't do a very good job conveying what it was. And then the Brady camp is claiming that this is what they actually offered, this is what they agreed to, and it was not a regular signing. It was, we've got these items, this is what he's going to sign, this is it. Don't bring your own stuff. As opposed to a signing where you can bring your own stuff and, here you go.
So, but just to clarify, he was doing this to flip, and that's why he was getting them signed. And the reason I ask is because you presented the question earlier about the item sitting on the mantle, plain or with the sloppy autograph or whatever. And personally, with some of the significance of like that game ball and everything else, I don't know that I would have wanted it autographed. So I guess if he felt that it was going to increase the value significantly enough to flip it and make a profit on it because the autograph was added, then I can see the reasoning for doing so. But I was kind of questioning like the reasoning for the autographs on him to begin with, because like if it was just a regular game, week 4 game worn cleat or something like that, all right, so be it. Or Gronk's 30th freaking touchdown or whatever, all right. But it was like these were kind of unique pieces to begin with and significant pieces to begin with. That's where I was like, I don't know that I would have even wanted that signed, because
unless
already have a lot
there was an inscription that reflected the specific nature of the item. If the
Yeah,
if there was an
yeah,
inscription that specifically, puts the date on it, says this is whatever, touchdown ball of the Super Bowl or whatever the situation is. If you've got something inscribed that is adding to that and connecting it to the event that the ball
yeah,
is from, that makes more sense to me. But just a straight up
right.
autograph, I almost would rather have left it alone.
It
I want to include
depends.
Billy's comment real quick. Let me just include
Okay.
Billy's comment here because Billy obviously does a lot of autographs. So I think this is a valid opinion we'll throw in
He
here.
knows more about autographs than I ever will.
Yeah, so I think this is a valid opinion to include it here. There is definitely a price difference in the street graph versus the private signing graph. Totally agree, 100% agreed. I think one important thing. I think this is a situation. Look, as much as we like teasing art, and Lord knows we do. This is a situation where we're all in agreement. Look, my Tom Brady hate aside, it's not a good look. It's not a good idea. Like every aspect of this could have been avoided with some basic communication. Basic communication. If he wasn't in the mood, he didn't want to do it, he always had the right to say no. It actually would have been better in this instance to be like, you know what, not doing it. And he was within his rights to 100% say not. And then it would be on the marketing company to refund the people, do a partial refund or whatever. And like, there's a million ways you can deal with this that will let you get out gracefully from this problem. Choosing to sign it and then half-assing it to the point that it's inexcusable is like the worst thing you could have done because you don't make anybody happy. You didn't fix the problem for anybody. You didn't do anything that's going to make anybody come out of this feeling good about the situation, and they're dealing with you because this was the situation. These were people who actually paid money to see you, to hear you, and good money. Not a couple of bucks. They paid a lot of money to see you and hear you and presumably get an autograph. And at the bare minimum, if you had at least done the original thing we just talked about, given them an autograph picture, an autograph book, maybe they still would have been happy, but they would have at least gotten something. If you just signed
How
it properly
many
and given that item, then at least they're getting something out of the deal.
how many total tickets were sold? Do we know that?
I couldn't find anything in the article. I'm not sure. But it was obviously substantial. Like I said, the one guy literally bought 6 tickets for 21,600, and there were presumably other people that got their stuff signed as well. So I don't know how many autographs there was, but it had to be substantial. It had
From
to
what
be
I understand,
six
the
figures, 7
conference-
figures.
The conference was a success, and there were a lot of people there. Money
here you
was
go.
there, and
Here you go. So I don't know if everybody paid this. So here, well, it actually sounds like everybody did. So here, I've got first couple of lines in the article. After Tom Brady gets spoken in front of more than 2,000 people at a business and
Holy
motivational
shit.
conference. The high rollers who paid $3,600 for a ticket to the speech, photo op, and sign item. So I don't know if every single one of them did, but like 2,000 people there. I don't know how many of
Well,
them
you
were
said there was a
VIPs.
VIP level, yeah.
Yeah, but I understand. But I don't know how many of them there were. But it's not like it would take a lot to make it a lot of money. Like even if 100 people, like at 3,600 a pop, that's substantial.
I was more curious because we know the examples that Eric has presented.
Yeah.
I was curious if there was other examples out there and what other items were signed. Is there more people come forward showing stuff that had been signed, the way it was signed, all of that? Because it would be interesting. We know the story here with Eric's friend. How many others, were some other people under the impression that it was the book or photo? Because then that would be an interesting thing too. Maybe it was different people presenting or selling the tickets or marketing it.
It's hard to say, but I think all I'll say is that it is. I think it's very comfortable to say that it was a bad look. And like I said, in the article, we do have an instance of at least one other person confronting Brady in the camp to basically, denounce what he had done here. And obviously, we've got the one example of the one person who bought 6 tickets to it and obviously paid a substantial amount. And again, we're counting the number of people, but in this case, one person bought 6 tickets. So in effect, so in reality, the number of people doesn't necessarily reflect how many tickets were purchased for this specific situation. There's clearly a big problem because like I said, the marketing company really screwed up. Because if you were just going to offer one thing, you got to do it. And like I said, we'll see an example of it. I started off the whole show talking about the Spring Expo. What's one of the things they do? They got a whole whack ton of autograph signers. And one of the number one things they got to do is they got to make sure the agencies are on board. They got to make sure the athletes or entertainers, because there's actors and actresses too, are on board. But if anything happens, anything changes, what's the first thing they do? they communicate it out as fast as they can. They send out emails, they send out images, they say, hey guys, this one's canceled. Unfortunately, they weren't able to make it or whatever happened here. And they immediately tell everybody as soon as they can, because you want to get out in front of it. You don't want to have a problem. So maybe to put it another way, whoever the handler was.
They also
go ahead.
Sorry. They also, something else to mention, I'm sure they do it up at the expo too. If the athletes are associated with like an exclusive thing like Fanatics or something, they actually bring the tablecloth out for that athlete. Like you might have Joe Schmo sitting there signing at just the regular basic table, but if the next guy is a big guy and he's tied to Fanatics, they'll bring the tablecloth out and have the Fanatics banner there and everything. So I read the article earlier in the day and people were debating, was Fanatics involved in this, and did they have a rep there, and were they part of the marketing for it and all of this other thing? And there was kind of like some blurred details of whether Fanatics was actually a part of it or not. Nobody really had clarity on that, but I would think if they were, just by seeing what they've done with other athletes that are associated with them at like shows and stuff, you would expect it to be Fanatics branding around there somewhere.
I agree. I can't answer any of that. I don't know. This comment here, I had the exact same thought. I don't know the exact situation. I don't know if Brady was sent into a back room with all the like he had to give you merchandise up and he went off by himself. I honestly don't know. I don't have
that would be unusual though. Usually you've got some kind of a handler. And the funny thing is, as I saw this, I actually thought it was very interesting because I had the exact same thought. Literally the exact same thought right around the same time. Because my first thought is somebody's job should have been to be there. And as soon as they see that he's not into it, you basically just talk to the guy and just say, hey, look, man, if you're not into this, you don't want to do it, you're probably better off just leave it be. Just put the pen down because there's no good's going to come from you signing stuff in that way.
Right. The handler or the promoter or whatever should have done that. But I also think if I am standing in front of someone and I have 12 items and together together, I mean, what did we say earlier? My friend said these were worth, all of them together,
a lot of money.
It was just stupid, right? I mean, it was a stupid amount of money. The 12 items all together. Let me get a quick number again.
Now I'm going to stand by what I said before we hit live. I stand by my original statement. They paid $3,600 per. I am prepared to replicate that autograph for $1,800 per. Yeah. I will offer you 50% off, and I am willing to do that for your friend. The next time your friend wants this, I can do that for $1,800.
The estimated value before sign. Now these are professionals. This isn't some jamoke. They're just making up numbers, and this is what this person does for a living. 12 items before the signature, if you want to call it that, were worth $750,000 to $800,000. Okay,
I want to know what a jamoke is.
A jamoke.
Oh, jamoke, whatever.
Yeah.
Define it. Use it in a sentence.
Carlos is a jamoke.
I thought that was like the shake at Arby's.
$750,000 to $800,000. That is what it was worth before the vandalism. They are now worth much less.
Scandalous.
And it was because Tom Brady threw a temper tantrum.
Thank you, Joe. I appreciate it.
Okay.
See, that makes sense to me. That man's talking sense.
It's just I'm so disgusted by this. I hated seeing these three guys again walking around like zombies, just in disbelief that this is the situation they're in because a superstar, Hall of Fame legend, multi-billionaire threw a temper tantrum.
I don't think
these hardworking guys.
The crypto thing didn't really work out.
I forgot. You know something? Pardon me. I forgot that he got divorced.
That's
At
true.
one
Yeah, I was
point-
gonna say Giselle probably.
At what point the two of them together were worth over $1 billion?
I would agree with that. Most of it
So
Giselle.
I forgot that the scumbag got divorced for God knows what reason. All right. So multi-millionaire threw a temper tantrum and destroyed hardworking people's livelihood. And I will not have a conversation about Tom Brady with anyone else for the rest of my life without making sure they know about this.
So you're saying you're gonna have to laser remove your Tom Brady tattoo on your back? Might be
My
a little
trans
awkward. That's a lot of laser. That's a
Yeah,
lot of laser.
yeah. Well, it's a big picture. It takes up most of my back, But I thought he was worth it, and now I realize that he wasn't, and it's gonna hurt a lot, and I don't care.
That's one of those moments that you made a mistake.
Yep. You told me not to do it, but I just wasn't listening.
Yep. Korean cardboard got it. You got it. Nailed it.
Yep.
Yep.
Tramp stamp. My Tom Brady tramp stamp.
Brendan here says the thing if Tom Brady signs is how he's signing now. What recourse is there other than passing it on? I don't think I think for like real signings, so that was kind of alluding to Eric's point from earlier, the conspiracy theory, whatever you want. The problem is going forward if he signs normally, quote unquote normally, right? Like we showed an example of what is more conventional for a Tom Brady signature today.
Dog shit, by the way, but it's much better.
Yeah, there's at least more to it, if nothing else. So that is going to kind of work against that idea. Like if he wants to sign like shit for the rest of time and that's his thing, he can argue that, hey, I signed it the way I signed all the rest of the stuff. But I don't think that's going to happen. I think he's at the bare minimum going to hit that other threshold. That other threshold is probably the bare minimum. It's probably what you should expect for most Tom Brady signings that are like through Fanatics, it's fully sanctioned, whatever you want. I'd expect at the bare minimum he would do the TB with a couple of squiggles there. Not the examples that we showed earlier tonight. I wouldn't expect that to be the norm going forward.
And I think there is going to be lawsuits. I know my friend and his partners, have discussed it. They've talked to some people. Now they can.
It's a pretty good Tom Brady auto. I like it.
I mean, they could be blowing off steam right now, but I don't see what other recourse they have. These aren't super wealthy people that can just go, oh well,
Eric, if I had known this was a thing, I would have been like, we're getting this man on the podcast. Let's go.
Well, something I could arrange that, for Friday.
I think that Brandon, I think this necessitates a follow-up. I think there's a follow-up. I got questions. I think there's a conversation that needs to be had.
We're going to be more, or I am going to be more mature at this moment.
Oh, please.
We're hearing Eric's rant and Eric's take on Brady and Eric's take about what happened to his acquaintance / friend, but it would be nice to hear the genuine thought from the person this happened to.
Agreed.
Get like the vibe of the whole experience, the thought process behind it. Why after he signed one did you let him do the other 11? All of those takes just to get.
My friend stayed in Massachusetts. His partners went down to Florida.
Okay, so I think there's a couple more questions that'll help us fill in some of the blanks here, and I do think so. I'm not going to commit to it. I don't want to promise anything that I can't deliver on, but I think we should attempt to see if we can get a conversation of some kind going, because I would love to get a little more information, a couple more details, and I think that would be very illuminating.
I didn't want to just throw it at you tonight. I just got out of work, a short time, and just left him a short time, before we started this. So it was a little too quick to throw together, and I wanted to make sure we were okay with this, this being the topic for this evening. So, but I'm sure he'd be more than happy to tell his story to the world, because I know the whole entire world is watching.
Hey, listen, I know for a fact. I like Brandon. I'm here for Tom Brady slander in all its forms, anything. Like if his neighbor really thinks, if he takes out his garbage late and his neighbor really hates that guy because of it, like I'm for it. I'm here for it. I'm ready. To make up for it, I would have Tom recited at a.
He's got the idea. He could just sign Gronk's name too. And then he get his dual logo.
And the best part is Gronk's auto looks like Tom Brady's auto.
Yeah.
They all look the same.
Well, I'm not convinced Gronk can spell his own name, but I know Tom can.
Hey,
But
Well,
hey,
maybe that's how
hold up,
Tom
hold
gets
up.
away with it.
just
He
won't.
signs Gronk's auto as an X. Or
Yeah,
there's Gronk's auto.
Eric,
yeah.
like this wasn't mentioned.
Here we go.
The Cllct article. It doesn't state your name, but it says on Monday, Wagner headed to, is it Saugus, Massachusetts, home of
Sports World. Yeah.
World.
I caught
in
that
all
too. Yes,
capital
I got that
letters,
too.
New England's largest sports memorabilia shop. There are two representatives from Beckett were on hand to certify autographs.
I said that already.
Yeah, but you didn't say that y'all were mentioned on
But
the
I think the more important thing is
website.
I'm actually disappointed that Cllct, hashtag scholarship, hashtag journalism, did not include
interview
local
Eric.
man screamed profanities, and then we would know who it was, screamed profanities, and then went to go get a chocolate stick. And I'm like, aha! I know who that is.
Might have been me.
I know what happened. I see what happened. Yeah, so let me I guess this is something we can actually ask. I think this would be a worthy question because I actually now that I'm intrigued. I would actually like to have that conversation. And if I did, I'd be curious if there was a make good. Like, is there a scenario? Is there something? Because the problem is the other autograph is so shitty. Like, what are you gonna do? Right over it? Like, I don't. Maybe sign the other side. Like, I don't know. I don't know what you do to try to make up.
Damn. Beckett took the dude for $1,200 for their inconclusive letters.
Well, yeah.
Well, Eric's got to get paid too. You got to get.
It says they didn't reject them, but they couldn't state that Brady signed them, so they gave him letters that stated inconclusive, and those letters cost him $1,200. That. Okay, sorry. I was
See, Brandon. People are talking about Eric, and people are talking about grading being a scam. What do you? It's like inconclusive.
I don't know that inconclusive should be charged.
Listen, I'm with you. Either it's yes or no.
I don't think inconclusive should be charged. I think it's either yes or no.
I would assume the inconclusive is they believe the story and they know that it's real, but it's bullshit.
So is there a chance, Eric? Is there a way, as a way of maybe salvaging this? Is there a chance? And so we've had a very legitimate conversation. So I want to warn everybody that I'm about to be 5% less mature here. So I'm going to now. So I'm warning you. I've given you a warning now. So Eric, is there a chance that maybe we could get Beckett to reconsider and maybe properly authenticate it as an autograph of The Rock?
Of The Rock.
Yeah, I think I feel like that's the obvious logical conclusion to this.
Can we just get Rick to authenticate it?
Yes, if we get Rick to authenticate that as a legit Rock auto, I feel like we've come full circle and arrived at where we need to be.
I think we just need to find any athlete that plays football with like the initial W and just say it's him. Because it's a lot closer. That would be more believable than saying that's a Tom Brady autograph.
I like it. But look, I had to bring The Rock into this because he was prominent at WrestleMania. So I had to bring The Rock back into this. It seemed like the right thing to do. And Paul's right. I stand with Rick. There's no doubt. A lazy auto is authentic. That's still better than a pretty fake. Well, the problem is I can't blame Beckett. I can't blame Beckett for not wanting to touch that because they don't have any other examples that match up other than this one specific scenario, this one specific situation where there's no reason to disbelieve that many people. But at the same time, you've got a problem. You didn't witness it. You weren't there. And you've got no other examples that match it. So what are you going to do? So like, if you're sitting there like, because the moment you say it's good, you've actually set a precedent.
Yep.
What happens? Like, because it's such a shitty auto that somebody else could replicate that shitty auto. And then what are you going to do? Like I would stay away from it.
And just, I know this is just semantics, but when you say that, please say, for my buddy's case, it's 12 shitty autos. We're not talking about one football with a bad auto. We're talking
Did he
about
have them all there? Because they're reporting 6.
6 tickets.
It was 6 tickets.
It,
Yeah.
it said it was 6. Wagner said the reps looked at his 6 items,
Yeah,
and he was told they wouldn't.
right. So that's him. The other part, him, Eric, and the other partner. There's 12.
So it was 12 total, but he had 6, the other
Yeah.
guy had 6. So did the partner, did he have Beckett look at him too?
I had to leave before they did that, but I believe that was what the plan was, because they want to, if they go to a lawsuit, and I think it was Ham who maybe an hour ago said this, having Beckett say either no good, or inconclusive helps in a lawsuit. So I would assume that after I left, because Mom and I went out to dinner tonight, so I left work early because Mom and I went out to dinner. So now okay, I'm not ashamed. We had a nice dinner. I had chicken fajita. It was good. Mom had a hamburger. All right.
Everyone, that's because he got the Beckett cut from the
I was gonna
1200
say, like,
for
it
the
sounds
6
to me
items.
like
He
somebody
texted
benefited
us
from
and
this
told
entire
us what was
exchange of
going
items.
on, so we want
How
to
interesting.
clarify.
Oh,
Miss
It's convenient
Kathy,
we have a
I hope your
fancy
dinner
dinner
was.
after a fraud is perpetuated.
so
Miss Kathy, we really hope you enjoyed your Beckett dinner.
I hope you enjoyed your blood dinner.
So we went out to dinner. So I left work at 5 instead of usually 6. So they were still in the process of dealing with all that.
Was it salted with the tears of the innocent? Was that part of the flavoring?
Yeah, it was. Yeah. And again, just seeing these poor bastards all day walk around like zombies, just not knowing what the hell to do, that their nest egg just got thrown up against the sidewalk, all because of Tom Baby throwing a temper tantrum.
It says some people are trying to do chargebacks on their credit. Go read the Cllct article. This is some interesting stuff. And it also says others are working to have the signatures wiped off.
It depends on what you had. Like
whatever some items you might be able to.
Right.
Some items you might be able to successfully do that.
Not on paper. You can't.
The leather even would be tricky because
because some of it will get absorbed into
the
leather.
Yeah.
And it may leave like a stain. You might get the silver paint, the paint off, but maybe it left kind of an impression or a stain. Again, if these are photo matched and you're cleaning an area that has, and I'm not just talking about my friend's stuff, just everybody that got screwed on Saturday. He writes across a grass stain that they have an 8x10 they actually match. You can't take the grass stain off.
Yeah, the cleats and the seat could potentially be cleaned. I guess
the seat probably
it's plastic. You could probably pull that off.
Yeah. The cleats maybe, but it's again the cleats are leather. They're not plastic. I mean, the Tom Brady's cleats are junk.
The part where it looked like they had them, it almost it looked like the shiny, not the patent leather, but I don't know what that other material is they use. It looked like it would come off of that it wouldn't absorb into it because it had that sheen to it.
I'm not a materials expert. I just know that this son of a bitch ruined lots of people's items on purpose, and that makes him a bad person.
Dang.
Were they ruined to the point of like game used items into metal shelving?
Any thoughts about that, Eric?
That's why
I had no choice. There was no other place that we could go.
Oh my God. That's why with the
sorry.
The stick that came.
No, you're not. You're an ass. You're not sorry. Don't lie to people.
Sorry.
You are so not sorry. Not even a little.
And so that's why the Bobby Orr stick that that we have in now, I gently put on the floor and took pictures of and didn't try to make a video. That's the one and only time I made a video and put it on Instagram, and I'm never doing it again.
And for those that don't know what he's talking about, that stick's already broken. So
I didn't break that.
That's the excuse you're using this time. And thank you, Kathy. Yes, I did enjoy it. Always nice not having to cook. Absolutely. And hopefully it was salted with the tears of the innocent. And that added a little flavoring to it. Okay. So here's what I propose. I'm all for the Brady slander, and I'm enjoying it. But I do want to at least have kind of a cutoff point for the actual podcast portion of it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say this. I'm going to sign off the podcast portion of it. And that is just to say more videos coming from the channel, live streams on Fridays at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, except for this week where I'm going to be determined. TBD. Part of the reason I did this live was number one, so I don't have to edit. Yeah, TB12, sure. And then the second reason is that also so that I guaranteed that this week there would be a live stream to continue the longest running episodic, whatever the hell it is we do. And I'm going to try to have one during the Spring Expo. I don't know when that's going to be, what time, what day. I don't know any of those things, details yet. I've got to figure it out as we go. But I want to make sure I cover that. And this was an interesting enough topic that it was worthy of it. How fortunate that in a live episode that I decided to do this time around, I asked if we could do a live episode without knowing what the potential topic was. And then suddenly we look at it and go, actually, this is pretty good. So the podcast portion of it, for folks that are listening to the audio version of it, is going to basically stop here. It'll do the little conclusion of it. And then we'll continue on because at least for a couple minutes, because we've at least got the chat and everybody's got at least some opinions that you can share. So thank you to folks listening to the audio version of it. Hopefully you catch us in the next episode, episode 72. This was episode 71 of the BIC podcast. We'll catch you in the next one.
Thank you, everybody.
All right, podcast over. All right, Eric, go ahead.
I hate Tom Brady, dumb son of a bitch.
See? Much better. See? Really good. Brandon, this is how it's done. I wanted to make sure we had a cutoff point for that. And by the way, the hockey's game is still going on. We've actually got a competitive contest. We've at least got a competitive contest going on. Austin Matthews decided he can do a thing.
Ooh, Eric's night's about to get shittier.
Yeah, I didn't think it was going to be possible.
Listen, man, I don't know what to tell you.
Maybe they shouldn't let him do that.
Hey, listen, he only scored 69 goals in the regular season. It's not like he's any good.
I was worried about the first few games because they were not very competitive games at all. So it wouldn't be bad if the series get buttoned up a little bit tighter because playoff hockey, when it's close, it's a lot more fun.
Billy makes a valid point. I heard Eric say he had balls in his hands way too often.
Oh,
listen, Billy, you're not wrong. There's a lot of very questionable things that occurred during that. And I just had to let a lot of things go because we're trying to be 5% more mature. I had to let a couple of things slide, but I got to be honest. Some facts are being stated here.
We know Billy was paying attention.
Billy Baru. Oh, Billy.
That was a good one.
Yeah. Billy, question for you. Are you going to be at the Spring Expo or are you coming next for the fall? Just curious if you're making this one.
Oh, no, he's going to be there.
Yeah, is it already confirmed that he's coming to this one?
As far as I know, from what I hear from my sources, he's going to be there.
So speaking of sources, Brandon, how's the project? How's you and the missus? Are we getting you in the fall?
Let me get through the graduations, and then we've already discussed about going to get our passports. So yes, we have discussed it.
All right. If worse comes to worse, I know a guy who can sign any paperwork you need. Tom Brady, he's my dude. He's going to sign shit for you. Like, it won't be legible, but the point is it'll be signed. The point is to sign it for you. So
that's all we need.
Problem solved.
Yeah. No, I got a seriousness. I was telling her, I think it was earlier today, I didn't realize how busy the next few weeks are going to be. And they're probably
I'll go by and throw shit at you,
by very quickly. But yeah, it's going to be probably the next 4 to 5 weeks are going to be crazy busy as hell. Lots going on. So
no doubt. I just thought I would ask because once we get through the Spring Expo, the next one shoots like a lot of people go. I was like, the summer goes fast, man.
It's November, right?
It's November.
Yes.
Yeah, but the summer goes quick. Once it gets going, because April, May, June, July, like boom, 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 boom. Before all of a sudden you're in the fall.
You know what I do, and so like my my weeks fly by, and then the weekends I'm like, busy all weekend, and so it just makes everything start rolling. The winter time actually felt a little bit slower. But like I was saying, we I guess what do I got? 2 weeks, and my daughter graduates college, and then the following week she graduates high school, if that makes any sense. She goes to her college graduation the weekend before her high school. Um, and then the weekend before that, we're going out of town for a few days. So yeah, like the next few weeks are going to be crazy, and you're right, the summers do fly by.
Mhm.
So
That is right. That is right. Any more Brady slander you want to include in there, Eric? You feel like you got your fill?
I don't know how much what more I could say. I just start repeating myself. He's a scumbag. He damaged on purpose a lot of people's property this past weekend and devalued it. And he's a giant baby who threw a temper tantrum. And I hope he gets sued. I hope the promoters get sued. I hope his name. I hope this blows up into something really big. And I don't just mean like hobby big. Like I hope it's on like ABC News because it's Tom Brady. I
Yeah.
hope I hope it just makes him look bad. And I hope he is forced at some point to make a
To say
statement
he's
about
sorry?
to say he's sorry or to come or whatever. Make us say I'm not sorry. Be a complete American and just be like, I'm not sorry. Screw everybody. I hate the fans. I hate everybody. I only care about myself. Go screw. I
I'd
mean,
almost respect that. Brandon,
you
I'd
know,
almost respect that.
I almost would because when he says, "Oh, I'm sorry," he's full of shit. He's not sorry. He did it on purpose.
Eric wants him to say that so he can sue, because I'm sure somewhere Eric has the go screw thing like
Mm-hmm.
copyrighted or something like that, and he would
That's
do a
true.
copyright claim, and
Mhm.
so yeah,
Someone's getting sued.
makes sense.
There's too much money lost on Saturday because of this clown. And I can't say for sure if my friend's going to be suing. I know that was a big talk out of anger. It may happen. Um, he sued Heritage a few years ago and won, and took some money out of their pockets. So I don't think he won't.
Mm.
So I can't say I know for a fact that he will, but I definitely don't think he won't. So,
Wow.
um, and I think a lot of people are probably heading in that direction when they're looking at their items.
If only Michael Rubin was there to make it right, Brandon. If only Michael Rubin was there. Make
There's
a
no
call and
way
make
to
it right.
make this right. Even if you hand over millions of dollars to people, the items are still destroyed and cannot be fixed. The items are destroyed. And they were destroyed on purpose by a multi-billionaire. I'm sorry, he got divorced because he's a scumbag. A multi-millionaire, big giant baby.
Mm. So you're saying that inscribing it, I'm sorry, isn't going to get it done?
No.
Terrible.
So I was browsing through the article a little bit more here,
Mm-hmm.
and there was something that we discussed earlier, why they didn't stop at the first item.
Mm-hmm.
And it says that in a back room with only a few people there to witness, Brady signed the items. Then it goes on to talk about as normal, T and B are distinguishable. And then it says, but on this day, some items feature what appeared to be a scribble. And then it says, when it was done, I peeked in the back room and looked at everything and said, holy fuck, Ludwig told Cllct. It looked like they were all signed by Tim Allen, not Tom Brady. So the owner of the items weren't back there when he signed, it sounds like.
Yeah, well,
They
that
were
was my
actually
understanding.
removed.
That was
Yeah.
my. I think if the owners were standing there, they probably would have had some objections right away,
That's
like
a weird
immediately with the
way to
quickness.
do it too. Like, I've never seen them actually. I mean, if you're taking you would think if they had the photo op with him, They would have just done the photo. He would have signed the items and like
Yeah.
moved to the next person, you know,
Right.
not had taken the photos and then let me take all of your items to my back room so I can sit
Hey,
down and scribble on
So
them.
what you're saying, oh Eric, is that we can't get Tim Allen to sign them?
Oh, Tim will sign anything, I'm sure.
Yeah, like I think that'd be great. I think it'd be phenomenal.
But, I saw Tyson do this in November. Okay. They brought all this stuff to a back room in November up at Expo. And I watched Mike sit at a table and sign for a good period of time. And someone handed him a mitt and handed him a mitt and handed him a ring bell and handed him a photo and he sat there and did it. And then finally he's like, I'm done. I'm done. I did the meet and greet out there. I took pictures. I signed autographs. I came back here. I've been sitting here for an hour signing stuff. And he got up and left. And he didn't get to half the room. I never seen so much stuff. I've never seen so many boxing gloves in my life. This makeshift room that they built with curtains and and steel rods and stuff. I sat and watched him. He sat there, gave it a good college try, and signed a ton of crap. And then he just tells his buddies, "Let's go, we're out of here," and left 3/4 of the room unsigned. I don't know what the outcome of that was, but I watched Mike Tyson get up and say, "I'm done."
Yeah. Well, he's got a right to do that if that's what they end up doing. But then it's on the promoter to basically make right, refund whoever needs to be refunded. But you have that option. You have that ability if that's what happens. So Michael Hamm, did Brady actually sign these? Allegedly. Presumably that's what happened. For the amount these guys charge, they should have Jimmy Spencer, Steve Grad right there. I don't know if honestly it would have. I think it would make a lot of sense to have had it. But the thing is, you wouldn't have for that kind of a specific scenario. I don't know. I think a lot of folks look at look at Steve, Jimmy Spence, Steve Grad. They're not necessarily the ones doing a lot of that work. Like they've got teams. That's part of the deal. But in this case, they didn't have anybody there authenticating it on the spot.
But again, and I just want to repeat, I'm not coming at anybody. I love everyone that comes in and watches this nonsense of ours. I'm not. I don't want anyone thinking I'm coming at them. It's been a frustrating day. It doesn't matter if you had Jim Beckett there with his Beckett stickers or Steve Grad for whatever the fuck his name is from Beckett or Jimmy Spence or PSA's head, guys or whatever. It doesn't matter. The autograph sucks. They will put a sticker on it because they watched Tom Brady scribble on something. Yep, I watched Tom Brady scribble on this sticker. It's still trash. It's complete trash. He put a W on a $100,000 plus game ball, Super Bowl ball. Gronk's first Super Bowl touchdown ball. He threw it. Gronk caught it. Gronk spiked it. Touchdown in the Super Bowl. He ruined it. He put a W on it. It doesn't
So this
matter.
is really, these details are really interesting, and we didn't touch fully on these. And again, the article's over there if you want to read
We'll
through
move
it.
you, Bob.
It said that Brady did a signing in Mexico City in October, and that part of the issue with this whole situation is that signing, it was amateur collectors. It was more amateur collectors. And it sounds like that Brady got overwhelmed because this signing was supposed to be for VIP members of the conference, but it turned into a signing for his biggest collectors. And it sounded like the way they explained it, he was overwhelmed by the breadth of the items, is the way they put it. But then going down here, it said the CEO of Exma, the leadership marketing and networking company, was approached by a guy named Fernando Regato, who is a memorabilia dealer in Mexico. I wonder if he was connected to the whole Brady Super Bowl jersey that got stolen and was found in Mexico. I wonder if he was connected with that. But
12 degrees of
the next few months.
Yeah, 12 degrees.
Anzuris said Regato he oversaw the signing part of the Brady Exma appearance as a way to get closer to Brady. So he began marketing the signing part to big Brady collectors, and the plan worked. He was on stage in Miami, but he was telling the collectors Brady would sign everything. So it was a memorabilia dealer in Mexico who was promoting this deal as a way to get closer to Brady. And it sounded like in order to get these numbers up, there's some shadiness going. This almost sounds like when they said it, this Regato guy was trying to get closer to Brady. I don't want to bring it into this kind of situation, but the whole, what was that woman that was like the fan club leader for Selena and then wound up starting working for her and everything? Like, it almost sounds like this guy is trying to use this marketing thing to get on the inside with Brady, and he's some memorabilia dealer in Mexico.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, listen, that's anything's possible. I'm not saying that's impossible, but it still comes. I don't give a shit about any of that. Tom, either write your name correctly or say no, I'm leaving. Don't destroy.
My other question is: does this guy in Mexico have any insides into betting lines? I'm asking for an interpreter. What? Too soon? Too soon? Real quick, I'll read a couple of comments here. Maybe Tom would have upped his auto game if Steve Grad was right there. I understand that. I understand kind of the idea here, but Steve Grad has no say. Like, I would have loved. Actually, I would have loved this if Jimmy Spence or Steve Grad was there and they would have said something. And Tom Brady's like, "Fuck you." It just continued. Like, he goes, "Who's Steve Grad? Who's Jimmy Spence? I don't give a fuck.
I don't know you. I don't care about this stuff. I don't care about the hobby. I don't care about any of this. I don't know who your big guys are in the hobby.
Shit.
Don't care. I'm freaking Tom Brady. Hold my 7 Super Bowl rings, bitch.
Which would have been a great quote. Would have been a great quote.
Would have been a great quote. He doesn't care. He doesn't care. I tell you, he would care if his buddy over at Fanatics there. What? Who runs
Ruben.
Fanatics?
Ruben.
Yeah, Ruben and him, a buddy. They go to let's all dress in white, go to parties together type guys.
Well,
right?
I made the joke, but look, if Steve Grad or Jimmy Spence is there, Tom Brady tells him to fuck off. He does the Eric and tells him to go screw.
That's
if
right.
Michael Rubin is there, then maybe a deal gets made. He has a quick conversation with the guy. He goes, "Hey, just take care of it, and we'll take care of you. Don't worry about it."
Yeah. If Rubin was there, it wouldn't have been an issue. That's the only person I can think of that could get into that guy's ear. That or his parents. I do think he respects his parents. If Mama Brady went, "Hey, these people work hard. Put your name on it right." "Okay, Mom." All right. Other than his parents or Michael Rubin, this guy ain't listening to anybody.
The bare minimum, you would have gotten a decent, at least a signature. He goes, "Jimmy Garoppolo? How did you learn how to spell Garoppolo?"
Yeah, right.
Finally, the moment has come. If you know, you know. I appreciate it. So it looks like the Toronto Maple Leafs have won. They're tied at 1. It shall not be a sweep.
I said 7 games.
It makes more sense for it to go 7 games than it does for it to be 4. So I expected them to at least put up a little bit of a fight. Listen, it would be the Toronto Maple Leafs if they didn't at least give their fans some hope.
Oh yeah, no, Bruins.
They're contractually obligated.
And the Bruins will lose in the second round to whoever they play.
There you go. So I want to make sure if we got any other comments or anything, we'll start winding her down here shortly. It was fun. We did a little bit kind of a mini watch along. We were kind of observing the game a little bit as well. But the Brady topic was at least interesting to go over. And as Brandon has been checking out, there's apparently a lot of layers to this article. Look, and like I said, I was being serious. Serious. I would actually love to have a little bit of follow up here and maybe have a conversation with one of these individuals involved, because I would love to know what they were told. I would love to know what they thought they were being promised in the first place, what was going on during that time, or what they were hearing as things were happening. And that's what I'd be curious about, because like I said, I've seen a lot of different types of promoters do autograph signings. There's a million ways to do it. So the question is, what were you told? What was offered? What was going to happen as part of it? Bobby actually said, how much is the Brady price? $3,600 was what it said in the article. So presumably that was basically what it's supposed to go. It was supposed to be as part of a talk, and then a photo op, and then an auto. That was what was supposed to be coming out of that.
I will ask I will ask
A
Eric
piece,
and coming on.
there's a piece here that said 3 people, because due to Brady's Fanatics contract, he's not allowed to sign the cards, and I guess somebody had a Bowman Chrome refractor for him to sign, and he did not sign them because he can't due to his Fanatics
Yeah, I did say
contract.
that. Yeah,
Yeah,
here's the
and they
thing,
said
like
those
cards
people
and certain
did
things.
get their money fully refunded because they didn't get the signature. So
Yeah,
it sounds
which
like
is which is standard. If for whatever reason you
yeah.
can't sign it, you refund them the money and give them back the item. That's easy. And while they
Well, it
may
goes
not be
back to the
thrilled with
whole
that, at
thing.
least that's standard. That's straightforward.
It sounds like that the Mexican guy was telling people that he was partnered with the Exma group who was actually running the conference, but he wasn't directly connected with them. But he was telling these high-end collectors that they had split 100 VIP tickets, but he was referring them to go pay Exma directly, and he was not giving them the details and the rules of the whole conference, and that's where all of this shit started. But
Yeah.
it does sound like had Brady just said no, that this would have been a better solution and the people could have at least gotten their money back. But
Yeah, well, that's why
instead
that
they
was my
had people
impression.
emptying their wallets before they could see him, like
In my
their
in
phones, their
my
wallets.
in my initial reading of this, it sounded very straightforward from the perspective of if everybody understands what they're paying for and what they're actually getting out of it, that would have resolved like 99% of this problem.
Yeah,
Because some people would have said,
it
no, that's
wasn't
not
doing
worth
that.
it to me. Other people would have been like, yeah, okay, great, that's fine, I'll take that. And then people could have made a choice. They could have said, okay, yeah, fine, I'll take your TB12 method book, sign the damn thing. And then at least they get what they pay for, whatever. But it's when you left it wide open and let people go through the trouble of bringing their stuff and didn't make clear what the rules were, what the parameters were, that things become complicated. And that's where it doesn't work. And we had that before. We had that conversation where it was the Kareem signing, if you remember a while back, we talked about it, where the promoter was trying to do this murky thing with the rookie card and like, oh, is this and there was like another one, I think if memory serves me, we were talking about it, where you had like what they thought it would grade, and then they changed the pricing depending on what they thought the card would grade. And it was this
Yeah.
weird dynamic pricing thing where it's like, and all of a sudden now you're doing an interpretation of like for ungraded cards. You'd be interpreting like, well, that looks like a 7. It's like, what are you even talking about? Like, what are you doing?
Yeah, and there's like, I mean, there's a bunch of examples where the players won't sign certain cards, or some players won't sign
Yeah,
rookie
it's happened
cards,
before.
or
Yeah.
What is it? Montana charges like $1,000 to sign the 81 tops or something like that. It's way up there on that card. So there's always, for the upper echelon of the players, there's normally some nuances to what they will and won't do. So that's not surprising on the card thing.
Just to let you know, as an update, Lameme James has picked up on this.
As it should.
And
Did
all
he
of my
include you in the post though?
I feel like that would be the least.
No. I mean, are those my feet? No.
He's missing out on putting you in the Beckett shirt and
Yeah,
just saying you're
all
inconclusive.
All the stuff we had in the shop today, and
Well, we do have you in the Sports World shirt, and it was noted that they went to Sports World.
Yeah, I mean all the same stuff that I was looking through today and we had at the shop is all in the. But I think he just got it off the Cllct. He just took it all from Cllct.
I did appreciate it. I'm just looking at the Lameme one, and they used the Conor McGregor video.
Yep, and that absolutely, and they should, because both are disgusting.
There you go. Look at that.
Fancy
Fancy autograph. Boom, top tier autograph. That's right.
Scumbag. I think McGregor's a scumbag, but I would never say that to his face because he'd hurt me. I'm not afraid of Tom Brady.
He's apparently he's coming back. He's going to be doing another fight.
And so I will root against him and say bad things about him from far, 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 far away, because he would hurt me so bad. Like just horrifically bad. I have no fear.
Already down.
None. No fear of Tom Brady under any circumstances.
Wow. You wait
None.
until Tom Brady beats you to death with a deflated football.
You know,
There are
and not
humiliations I've ever seen.
listen. I didn't say I was smart. I didn't say that he couldn't. I just said I have no fear of him. Conor McGregor, I am terrified of, and I will hide under my bed if I hear him coming.
I feel like Tom Brady and Eric is what we needed in Thunderdome. I feel like that's the right thing to do.
I'm not afraid of Tom Brady. No, not even in a little bit.
Eric just trashed Connor from up close. Chances are he will attack you. You'll get paid. See? And you'd be able to afford some Tom Brady autographs.
I'll be
Think
dead.
about it.
I'll be dead or have brain damage, been eaten out of a tube. What am I going to do with that money? Pay my hospital bills?
Well, not
Get that.
Not with that attitude, Eric.
No.
All right,
No,
this
thank
is
you.
great. Hold on. All right, so we're about to start. About to start winding down and signing off. But before, last comments, feel free to throw them in there. Okay, so this one, this was just sent to me. This is great. So Brandon, I think you're gonna appreciate this. So let me show you from eBay. Here's a card, and this is the joy of commerce. Okay, so here is a 2022 Skybox Metal Universe Precious Metal Gems Adam Cold Retro Gold 1/1 PMG. It might look familiar because that's the one that I pulled on ePack and sold. And this person paid $700 on ComC. I've shown that. This person paid $700 ComC, and it's now listed it for $4,000. I wish you the best of luck, sir. I wish you nothing but the best.
I hope there's an
Bon
idiot
chance, mon ami.
Yeah, I hope there's an absolute moron out there that gives you that money. Please, you have brass ones to try that. Good for you.
I love it. It's such a ridiculous I was like, come on now. Like, dude, you want to try like 1,500 or something, like, try to double up or whatever.
I'm going to give the guy $10 for it.
Well, see, he already gave me 700, so I accept this tribute.
Yeah. I'm saying I wouldn't give the guy $10 for it.
Yeah. The bottom line is like, look, I got my money out of it. I'm good. Best of luck to you.
Yeah, I think you are good. That guy's a clown.
Bob Jackson, you already damaged. Fact.
I know.
They'd be damaged and rich. I know.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
The bigger they are, the shittier they are. Yep. 4 grand for them cold. No. Good luck at it. 700 was pushing it. Hey, man. Paid
And
went through.
I would just like to. Can I show something quick, please? I haven't had a chance to. I showed the guys in the pre-show, but I had the privilege. No, I'm better yet the honor of
The honor.
meeting a real icon in athletics, somebody that's actually meant something to society and athletics as a whole.
Look, for the last time, we're not talking about Nick Foligno again.
You leave Uncle Nick out of this. I had the privilege of meeting and spending about 3 hours with Willie O'Ree over on Saturday. Willie is 88 years old. That's his autograph. 88.
I'm glad that he put. I'm just proud that he put Eric in quotations.
I was about to say that looks like quotation marks to me. Like, Eric, if that's your real name.
I am
Eric.
not. Listen, I'm not about to question Mr. O'Ree, okay? But again, here's his.
The problem is that Willie O'Ree is questioning you.
Yeah.
I'm not questioning Mr. O'Ree. I'm questioning the person. He's
88
put quotation marks.
Years old, Hall of Famer, first black man, because it's an all men's league, to be in the NHL. In 1957, he played the first game January of 1957 against the Montreal Canadiens for the Boston Bruins. He is put into the Hall of Fame as a builder. He's been known as the Jackie Robinson of hockey. He has done more for society and for athletics and the sport of hockey and sports in general and just society in general than Tom Brady could ever imagine. Tom Baby. I'm sorry. I mispronounced his name. I apologize. It's Tom Baby.
It makes me so happy to have a Boston area
And
guy
and
trashing
the
the guy.
fact that at a true icon, something that someone who actually matters in this world and has done something bigger and greater than Tom Brady could ever imagine, at 88 signs his autograph like this. Tom Brady should be ashamed, and he's utterly a disgusting human being.
Shame. So get the meme together. Bob Jackson says, Eric, what athlete grinds your gears the most?
I think today, you asking me that today, Bob, I've known that you're kind of a wise ass jerk, but I respected you. If you're not getting the message today, I've lost my respect.
I don't know. It seemed kind of subtle, Brandon. I wasn't 100% clear on his feelings. It was a little ambiguous.
I'm just impressed that a hockey fan is most irritated by a football player. You would think that you would like hate one of the hockey rivals or something like that, but no. He hates Tom
Well,
Brady.
the plot twist here is that secretly he hates Marcel Dion, which is very strange.
Well, listen. I've had a very emotional day, and if you want to start making fun of Marcel, we're gonna have a problem. Okay.
Listen, I already look. I bring everything you speak of into question as soon as Willie O'Ree in his infinite wisdom puts in quotation marks Eric, because really, is that who you are?
Listen,
the man knows. The man was looking at you and saying, "You're full of shit."
Side note,
Eric,
this was actually a gift. Believe I know this sounds weird. His dear friend, who his name is Dennis, and he travels with Willie and helps him out and everything, and is his business guy and everything. He had 5 of these in a bag. All right. Willie asked him to take one out, and Willie, this is a gift from him to me. He could write anything he wanted on it. This was not something that we had at the shop. This is not something I brought in to get signed. This was a gift from him to me, and this is going to be this is very special, and I'm going to appreciate this for a very, very long time. So he can write Eric any way he wants. He could have spelled it with a K, a CK. He could have spelled it with a W, like Tom Brady spells things. And I would still hold this near and dear because this was an actual gift from him to me. So I'm very happy about it.
I think this is one of those situations, Eric, and this is probably why it's probably a good thing that I never became a professional athlete, because if we get into the era of inscriptions, I would literally screw with people. If I was Willie O'Ree and you're and I'm signing that for you, I wouldn't just sign it. I would literally be like, to Eric, Oswald did not act alone. I helped him. I would literally just like it. I would admit to like, I would be like, it's like, it was me, Eric, it was me all along, and I got away with it.
So that's
pretty sweet. I'm not gonna lie.
All the other stuff, either I brought that I've had, or we had at the shop. 8x10s, his retirement banner, that the centennial card, I had a Hall of Fame puck, we had a 100-year puck at the shop.
And yet was Willie able to get into the echelon of an SP signature legend?
I don't know. That's a great question. I don't know. You have to ask Billy if he's still around.
I think I don't think the answer is yes. I think the answer is no.
Is Willie O'Ree, the Jackie Robertson of hockey, worthy of SP legend status? That'd be up to Billy, I guess.
I got a question. That's a question. I don't know.
I have a question, and it's a serious
only one. Only one.
Was the quotations around Eric because he knew the proper name was indeed Bougie Eric.
Listen, if he wanted to call me that, or if he wanted to write that, I would be as honored as can be. He can do anything he wants. He's Willie O'Ree.
Like I said, Brandon, I don't know if you caught it. I was saying if I was Willie O'Ree's age, I would literally screw with people. I would learn like Oswald didn't act alone. I helped him. Just be like, yep, it was me. Never caught me. Zach says, do this being unplanned live. The like button is lacking, so charge Eric double. Facts. Listen, I'm charging Eric for the like button like Tom Brady charges for a squiggle.
Oh my
Like
God.
Big
Beckett
money.
charges for
Big money.
inconclusive.
Big
That
money.
is that is a lot of money.
Big money. Just saying.
That is a
That's
lot
the part that got me out of the whole conversation. Really, is they still charge for inconclusive.
What
Yeah.
should be getting you out of the conversation is you should be sitting there going like, I am totally in the wrong business. I could give you inconclusive at $1,200.
Exactly. That's the like. I think even the grading companies, like for cards and stuff,
That's 12 items.
they
They're premium items.
they either say yay or nay. Like the inconclusives, they don't charge. So that shocked me that they actually charged for
Yeah.
inconclusive.
Years ago, I went to when authenticating autographs were kind of a new thing. All right. I tried it with a couple of Gretzky autographs that I got as Christmas gifts. Someone got me at the mall. Now I look at them and I go, these things it's unbelievably fake. Well, whether it was my wife or my parents or somebody, they bought them for me, and I had them around and on the walls and all that for years. And then I went, I should, now that this authentication thing is up, I should try it. And I had to pay double because it was like Wayne Gretzky, so it's a premium autograph. And I had two of them, two 8x10s. And the guy didn't even take him in the back room and like match him to the computer. I paid him. He just took them and went, they're fake, and handed them back to me. And I already paid him like $120. He knew they were fake as I was standing there paying him.
Mm-hmm. You would prefer to pomp and circumstance? You would have preferred, a smoke screen, like a stage show, lights.
Take him in the back room and pretend you looked him up on the computer.
Just be like,
He just
and
says,
then after 20 minutes of deliberation,
he said, give me your money. I went, okay, like $120 or whatever it was. It was 100 and something. Okay. He took them. Thank you very much for the money. Put it in his pocket and went, they're fake. Next.
Eric would have preferred if it had been some pomp and circumstance, a smoke machine, some laser light show or something. And then it's like stands there and says, nope.
You know that tune that the old Michael Jordan Chicago Bulls came out to? That tune they came out to? I can't even.
Yeah, the entrance music for the Bulls.
Music for the Chicago Bulls.
Yes.
Like, I want that. I want that and lasers. That's what I want.
Interesting.
I can't even try to mimic it with my voice, but yeah, everyone knows what I'm talking about. When the entrance music for the Chicago Bulls Jordan era, that I want that.
I see. There's a name for it, but we'll have to figure that out.
Yeah.
So we'll start winding her down on that. Dallas is down 2-0, and Brandon's golden boy. By the way, did you tell your boy it's the playoffs now? He was saving himself, resting.
So I was trying to figure out what the hell happened because it was 1, and then we scored, and I guess it was offsides because I was wondering where the hell our goal went. But the player that I'm really worried about, and I like the kid, but Jake Ottinger has to start doing better in the playoffs. This is what I was worried about. He melted. He like melts in the playoffs. So he's either a wall or Swiss cheese. It's no in between when it comes to the playoffs. So we'll see how it goes.
You're not playing the song, Eric. Nope. He's playing it all by himself. I'm not getting copyrighted for that shit. Hells no. Zach here says, I went to JSA event at LCS, took an in-person auto I knew was real. They said they believe me, but Luke Russian could authenticate. Didn't charge me anything. I'm really worried about with Mark Stone. There you go. He's injured. He's not 100% when the playoffs start. And then he's 100% when the playoffs start. I don't know.
And he scored the goal right off the gate.
Yeah, it's one of those things. I think it's one of those things where, I'll be honest, I'm not worried about Ottinger because it's one of those deals like, right now, both teams have 4 shots. One team has 2 goals. But here's the thing. I'm not complete. We talk about all that balance and scoring. We'll see. You're going to have an opportunity. Your job now is to score a couple of goals and see what happens. Settle it out.
I just know the last 2 years, like he seems to get in his head in the playoffs. Like, and when it was like the floodgates would open when he would allow a goal or two. Next game, he might be a brick wall and they can't get anything past him. But it's all or nothing with him, it seems like, in the playoffs. So that's the only thing that worries me is I think he's a great young goalie, but I think he lets the mental aspect, especially in the playoffs, get to him a bit. And that's been a concern the past couple of years. So
I think it kind of depends. It's one of those deals. It depends on a year-by-year basis because I'm just looking at like 2022. He was 3-4 in the 7 games, but his goals against was 1.81 and a save percentage of 954. That's good enough.
that's what I'm saying. It's like either all or nothing, though.
You have to. Yeah. But the problem is they lost 4 games with that. And I'm like, well, in 7 games, if you're 181 goals against and 954 save percentage, that means you didn't score. You're not winning that way. You have to score. Paul C says, looking at the event website for $3,600, they had a chance to transform your thinking. There we live the dream. Did it transform your thinking? Maybe it did. You know what you should have been? You know what you should have transported your thinking? You're like, wait a minute. If I do certain things, I can charge $3,600 for a scribble. Mind blown. Why didn't I think of that?
If you want a Brady auto, it says the footballs are $2,200 on Fanatics, but I get they're not game used and stuff, but
that is an option. That is an option. I wouldn't pay $2,200 for it. I don't care what it is. Hell no. Hell to the no.
You know, I understand why my buddy and his partners wanted to take things that were very, very high end and double their money.
I don't think it doubles your money though. Like I look, forget everything else. Let's say it was the most pristine, beautiful Brady autograph. I wouldn't give you an extra $1 for it. I don't think the autograph adds that much to it.
Is that how you really feel, or is that your prejudice talking?
That is I don't give a crap who's signing whatever.
Okay.
I don't care about who's signing. If it's a game used item, I want the game used item. An autograph is, I'll give you an extra $5 for it. Like I don't care about the autograph on there. Not for that.
All right. I wanted to make this point earlier, but we moved on for a bit. But now we're circling back a little. So if you took that ball, you know, Brady threw it to Gronk. It's Gronk's first touchdown in the Super Bowl.
Yes.
The whole thing. And you had Adam Vinatieri, or whoever the freaking kicker was at that game. Maybe it was Groskowski or whatever.
Groskowski?
Yeah. Okay. Maybe it was him. And you had the kicker sign it. That's a stupid move. But there are 2 people on this planet, in my opinion, that can sign that, and it will increase the value of the ball. And that is Tom Brady or Rob Gronkowski, or both. You can't just have anybody. You can't have a backup tight end sign that Super Bowl ball. You're ruining the value when you do that. But if you put one or both of those guys on there, that ball is worth a lot more.
Personally, and this is just my opinion, and I'm coming at it as a neutral take. I could give 2 craps about Tom Brady. I think Gronkowski's signature on the ball is more significant than Tom Brady's because it was Gronk's first Super Bowl touchdown.
I hear that, and if it was Mac Jones who threw it, great. But you have the GOAT.
Joe Montana did not sign it for the last time. What are we doing here?
Hey, listen, I would love I grew. You have to again. I'll say this real quick. I've said it 100 times. When I was growing up, Patriots were horrible. They were 1-15 year after year. I watched every single 49ers game that was on TV every single weekend. I grew up a 49ers fan. I know more about them than the 80s Patriots. And so I watched Joe Montana. I watched every freaking game that guy ever played every Sunday of my childhood. So I'm a huge Montana fan, and I love him as the GOAT. But 7 Super Bowls, man, that's freaking nuts. Especially that 7th one. He's an old man, and he switches teams. I mean, come on. That's
look, that last one. That he was a lucky son of a bitch. That was lucky bastard is what it was. He had a horseshoe up his ass. He had a horseshoe up his ass.
Yeah, well, freaking amazing.
I think Eli should sign it and inscribe it.
I like Paul's practice squad autographs.
2-0 against Brady.
Yeah, actually, I like the Eli comp. It's like I owned your ass. Eli
So
there you go. It kind of looks like an E.
The beginning.
Eli. Pretend it's
Eli Manning comes in with the baked good. He signs it.
Saying it's a W, but if you turn it aside, you're right. It's an E.
There you go. It's Eli.
Man, we're fixing it. We're fixing it, y'all. We're fixing it right now as we speak. I love it.
But I'm a big proponent that if you can get a huge name on something that's game used like that, you get Bobby Orr to sign a Bobby Orr game used hockey stick, you just increase the value.
I would rather if the signature was contemporary to the time that the thing was happening. I don't want it years after the fact.
It's the same guy.
Let me ask this question, Eric. Let me ask it real quick. So there is a lot of game used memorabilia that hits these big open, auction houses and stuff.
Yeah.
Okay. There are some significant pieces that get auctioned at these auction houses. If the autograph was that significant, why isn't the majority of these pieces, when they're auctioned at these auction houses, already signed? The players wore them. The players, in many cases, owned them. The players even sell their own stuff sometimes. And it's usually not signed.
I can't. I got to be honest. I don't go around and search all the big auction houses to see how they do things. I don't know why they didn't have an opportunity. The guy's dead. You can't get Babe Ruth to sign a jersey. I don't know.
Not with that attitude, Eric.
I'm talking Emmett
for $3,600. I bet I could get Babe Ruth to sign.
Could they leave it up? They get a hold of it unsigned and they leave it up to the person buying it to see what they want. Some people, it's an opinion thing. I gave my opinion. Other people's opinion is it wasn't supposed to be signed.
But you're kind of proving the point right there, though. You're leaving it up to the new owner, and by having it signed, you just decrease the audience that then may be interested in the piece.
I think with big names, though, I think I don't see how a pristine Tom Brady auto is going to bring the price down on something. It doesn't compute in my head. Other people might 100% disagree and say that it devalues it immensely as soon as you write on it, because that's not how the jersey originally was, and except that's okay. It does not compute to me that if Tom Brady puts a pristine signature on a Super Bowl ball, that devalues it. I just see it going through the roof. But obviously what he did was just sheer vandalism. It was a little kid throwing a temper tantrum, and fuck him.
So what you're saying is you would be more excited if Tom Brady had used his tagging skills and done some graffiti on it.
It would have looked nicer.
Probably.
Do you think he recognized the balls?
He probably thought these seem reasonably inflated. These are fake.
Yeah.
I don't know if the information was sent in with them. I wasn't there. I mean, that if I do get my friend to participate in the show, these are questions you can ask him or his partners or whatever, but I don't know.
There you go. All right. So I'm going to start winding her down on that just so that we can finish off. And those of you, I know a bunch of folks in the Canadian side are watching the games, and the Edmonton Oilers game has just started with the LA Kings. So you can cross your fingers and root for McDavid to do a thing.
Huh.
You can root. Hey, listen, there's a whole stake of people that are sitting there going like, oh, please do a thing. We need you to do a thing. Do it.
Renaissance just scored. That's 2-1.
There you go. Wonder if Brady would sign David Tyree ball and inscribe it 18-1. Yes, that'd be amazing. Or maybe going back to what I said earlier tonight, and we'll leave it on this thought. Maybe Tom Brady should have inscribed it. Oswald didn't act alone. It was me. Like again, I think that opportunity is lost if we don't consider the full gamut of inscriptions that could have been written. You know, Tom Brady, TB12.
He wasn't alive. Hey.
TB12. That says you. We've long said he's old. Maybe he's older than we thought. It's like TB12, you know.
Oh.
It's like they will never find all the bodies in my crawl space. Wait a minute. What do you think, Eric, that would increase the value of the Super Bowl ball? Or it's like they will never find all the bodies in my crawl space. Good luck.
I think the reason he's been able to stay young is because he drains the blood of virgins and drinks it or something.
I was about to say he bathes in the blood of the innocent. I assume that was what we were going with.
Yeah, so he does something. TB12 method. Yeah, whatever, man. You're draining the blood of like 14-year-old virgins. I don't believe anything about he says.
Wow. And on that bombshell, we thank Boston correspondent Eric, giving us his insights into the Tom Brady market and the actions of Tom Brady, which Eric, of course, condones and endorses. Big fan, huge fan of the TB12 guy. Huge.
Guy's a weirdo, piece of crap.
Had a good day, yeah. But it was fun. I enjoyed kind of doing a little mini watch along / Eric rant on Tom Brady, which was fun. So this is the live episode, episode 71. Hopefully, cross fingers, some point this week there'll be another live stream. I'll see what happens. I'll figure it out and see if we can work it out from on location at the Spring Expo. So there'll be some kind of expo videos for sure. There'll be some kind of expo videos. I just got to figure out what that's going to look like. So we'll get the last couple of comments and then we'll wind her down for an evening. Paul C says TB12 on the grassy knoll and 7-time Super Bowl champ. Facts. The reason he's young is because of the cult he joined. That's right. It all comes together.
He's done some weird stuff. He's all teamed up with Tony Robbins.
I'm highly against Cllct, as you can tell.
It'll all change if Jason Robertson scores a goal, and all of a sudden we'll just hear the sound of the pump.
Oh, the pumping!
That won't be a cult. I am a charter member of my own
cult
inflation device.
Yeah. Inflation device. Jeff, thank you, Jeff. Appreciate it. Carolina was plus 3,500 when they were down 3-0. There you go. Thank you, Jim. All right, folks, have yourself a good evening. Enjoy. If you are watching the rest of the hockeys, enjoy the rest of the hockey game. Enjoy the rest of the series. And like I said, there'll be more stuff coming up on the Spring Expo. We'll see what happens. I think it'll be fun. Well, I know Billy's going to be there, so I think that's going to be a good time. And then there should be a fun cast of characters. So we'll see if we can take care of it. And for those of you who are in the chat, who are going to frequent it today, if you do see myself or the Burrell, feel free to say hello. We'll be out and about in that thing. And if you find Eric, then let us know. Because we'll track him down because then we're gonna have questions. We're gonna have questions about the doppelganger. We're gonna have questions about who led him to the country. We're gonna have to inform Marcel because there are alerts around the country. So
me next month, he's coming down to visit me next month. I don't have to go up and see him. He's coming to see me.
Yeah, and he's gonna sign some stuff for you. Tom Brady. It should be great. It should be fantastic.
Whatever he wants is fine with me.
Eric, quotation marks. It's like Willie O'Ree was right, Marcel. I see. All right. They know. They converse. They speak. All right, folks. Have yourself a good night. Enjoy. This was your Monday bonus live stream. Take it easy, and we'll catch you in the next one.
Tom Brady sucks.